Hello and welcome back to MTG Bazaar coverage. We have round 10 out of 12 of Swiss coming up for you. How are you feeling, Ethan?
Really excited. Look, we're starting to get into the thick of it. These rounds are, the most important. If you win, you put yourself in a really good position in top 8. If you lose, you're still alive, but you got some more work to do at the back end.
Yeah, we have two players for you. We have Yang on Blue Moon and Thomas Bot on Bots, as the name would suggest.
Yeah, two fantastic players. Obviously, Thomas Bot, regional champion, very much a Highlander. Not a specialist in Highlander necessarily, but tremendous Highlander player as well. We've obviously got Yang, who won the last major Highlander tournament at the previous RC, I believe.
Yeah, he also top 8'd the RC as well, so he's going to the next Pro Tour.
Insane weekend for him there, and look, he's running it back here as well, which is just, super, super impressive.
Yeah, so he's got a Lutri as a companion, which, good use of points.
Yeah, I really like Lutri. Lutri, obviously, in Highlander, it's pretty no restrictions. We're playing a singleton format, so you can jam Lutri in any deck you want, unless you're playing Relentless Rats or some sort.
Also works really well with cards like Force of Will, Force of Negation, Fury. Just being able to pay 3 mana and have that open.
Yep.
Very, very powerful reactive game plan you can play.
Yeah, for sure.
So for this matchup, what side are you wanting to be on? What deck do you have more experience with?
Definitely not a lot of experience on either side, but I think Blue Moon is what I would have the most experience with. Thomas Bot, his shops deck, it's always a little bit different from the other shops and other bot style decks that you play, and oftentimes he is the one that's driving that theory, and often he's the only one that knows the theory. So
yeah, he does do a lot of innovating on the deck as well, and then we've got some other players, Trent Clark, Volty, and they're also in today's room. Thomas Bot just beat Volty last round as well to remain undefeated. We have no players at 9-0, but we do have Thomas Bot here, XO1.
Yep, seems like I believe he's the last undefeated player. I think Chris unfortunately lost the last round, but I might be incorrect in saying that. But yeah, there's been a lot of draws in this tournament. As we said before, Highlander is a lot of decisions to make, and so draws are just inevitable in this format, unfortunately.
So Thomas Bot kicking us off with a Workshop.
That's exactly what he wants.
The greatest card in the deck.
Absolutely.
And showing it up with a Clown Car.
Yes, Clown Car is a fantastic card from what I've been told. Clowns on people quite a bit. You're rolling a few dice. We see...
So we get 2 evens and an odd.
2 evens and an odd. Probably not what Thomas wants exactly. He'd probably rather more creatures on the board at the moment, more artifacts. But look, can't be complaining with this sort of start.
No, it's hard to complain when you have a Workshop start, really.
Absolutely, yeah.
So he's got a Mox Opal, Aether Spark, Gaia's Cradle.
Yeah, and here we go.
Expedition map?
Yep.
All right, let's see how Yang responds. I think he's drawn Ragavan for the turn. No, it's a Galvanic Discharge. So this Clown Car not a target currently.
No, not a target. Also, Yang reading the Clown card just to make sure he knows exactly what's going on.
Doesn't want to get clowned here.
Does not want to get clowned.
So Unholy Heat, Brainstorm, Verdant Catacombs, Flame of Anor, Basic Island. One other card I can't quite make out. Looks like another full art land.
Yep.
So Yang on this Blue Moon deck is very much trying to play a bit more of a control game and lock his opponents out. But this fast start from Thomas Bot here could prove very difficult.
Yeah, a lot of permanents already on the table, and most of these permanents Yang can't interact with, so Thomas Bot definitely already in the driving seat.
Ancient Tomb, by the looks of it, is the draw for turn. Or maybe not. We're going to see... Yeah, there's an Ancient
Looks
Tomb.
like there's an Ancient Tomb, yep, good call.
I think we might see an Aether Spark here.
Yeah, this is going to be a really big play for Tom. Obviously, Yang doesn't seem to have the Force of Will or Force of Negation in hand, so this will pretty much just hit the table and push Tom further ahead.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of advantage out of this card, and it's a really bit of a weird card. But opts to instead go with a Stonecoil Serpent.
Yeah, probably seeing if Yang wants to do something, trying to test the waters a little bit here. Maybe he's looking to deploy this Gaia's Cradle to make that mana for the Aether Spark. Gaia's Cradle's been really impressive from Tom's side. I've watched him a few times this weekend. It's always just seemed to have always made 3+ sort of mana, and that's, look, if you can add more Workshops to your deck, you probably would, right?
I mean, yeah, when you've got a Academy in the deck as well, like, Gaia's Cradle does a similar impression of Academy in this sort of deck, because you do have a lot of creatures that are artifacts. Obviously, Academy is what you prefer, but, Gaia's Cradle's still a free thing to put in, basically. So, casting the Aether Spark off, crewing the Clown card to make the additional mana for the Gaia's Cradle.
Very neat, very clean play from Tom. Looks like Yang, though, going to brainstorm in response. Definitely looking for that 0-mana interaction. Doesn't seem to get it, though. Looks like he picked up a Mystic Sanctuary, a Gitaxian Probe, and a Spell Pierce?
That's
No,
a Lightning Bolt.
Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, so Yang as well not having a basic mountain, but does have fetch land in hand.
And yep, this Aether Spark's just going to hit the table.
Bloodstained Mire, I believe. All right. What do you think Aether Spark is going to do in this situation here? Because its ability to attach itself to a creature is quite interesting.
Yep.
Attaching it to the Clown Car as well means that after the turn ends, it'll fall off because the Clown Car stops being a creature.
Yeah, which you don't mind too much. I mean, the main thing is to keep this Aether Spark on the table and just make sure the loyalty stays up. We did see, I think, the Unholy Heat in Yang's hand. So as long as Tom can push this loyalty up to above 6, it's going to be really difficult for Yang to eventually deal with this Aether Spark.
Yeah, also not having Delirium is going to make it difficult. I think the Aether Spark might get out of range before Yang has anything to do about it, but he does have the Flame of Anor in hand, which can destroy an artifact, and Aether Spark is an artifact planeswalker, the only one of its kind so far.
Very interesting. And yeah, looks like he's opting to put the Aether Spark on the token instead of the Clown Car, so...
Yep, I think he wants to just keep it on and tick up its loyalty even further.
And yep, there we see it.
So
Loyalty going to 7.
Yeah, he'll have the ability to cash it in next turn to draw 2 cards. Like, he's only got the 1 card in hand, so I'm sure he'd like more. Redraws the Galvanic Discharge. Doesn't have access to double red.
Like we're just switching the dice for the Aether Spark just to make sure we don't get different counters confused.
Yeah, it's always good to make sure that games are nice and tidy and things are represented properly, because this format has so many things going on at any given time. Like, all the cards being singleton. You're playing with more cards than you would normally see in like normal constructed Magic.
Exactly right, and look, there's a lot of things on the line here. This result is really big. As we're saying, the winner of this match puts themselves pretty much in a commanding position to top 8. So, yeah, don't want to get any minor details wrong here is really critical.
Yeah, with 2 more rounds to go after this, these players are starting to look into ID territory after this round. So these are going to be some very important matches we've got coming up. Not to say this one isn't important, it quite very much is. So pays 2 life for the Git Probe. This gets us 1 card away from Delirium. Sees the Ancient Tomb. But
yeah, this 4th type though, I think it's gonna be really difficult for Yang to actually get into the bin. He doesn't have a creature in hand, I believe, and yeah, not an artifact or anything. So this Unholy Heat might be stuck in his hand for a little while.
Yeah, losing this dice roll here is showing a fair bit of damage.
Absolutely,
like, not being able to play this Flame of Anor onto the Aether Spark means Tom is going to be able to cash this in at this rate.
Will be interesting to see, though, if Tom decides to cash it on this turn or he just continues to keep ticking it up. Obviously aware of the burn spells that Yang has in his deck. But again, as you mentioned before, there's just not a lot of action going on in his hand at the moment, and if he believes this board state's good enough to keep progressing the game until he does find those additional threats, he might not decide to cash it in, but yeah, this is a really critical decision here for Tom.
All right. Tom has drawn...
Quick Flash was a bit too fast for us there.
I think Eldrazi Confluence is going to be my guess.
Eldrazi Confluence?
Which are uncastable on this...
yeah, I think you're very much correct. That was a great call.
Very uncastable on this board.
Yeah, unfortunately, as Workshop taps for 3, you can only cast your artifacts.
And we're just going to... Looks like Judge is talking about Aether Spark.
Right.
I'm just making sure you can't bolt this.
So, as long as Aether Spark is attached to a creature, the creature can't be attacked. And whenever this crypt creature deals combat damage during your turn, you may put that many loyalty counters on Aether Spark. So it can get pretty big pretty quickly if you put it on the right thing.
Yeah, although everything on Tom's board currently at only 2 toughness, it is just pairing really well again. It's Yang sort of on the draw, somewhat of a slow draw. He didn't have interaction for turn 1, so it looks like there is still a bit of confusion about what the Aether Spark is doing.
Yeah, it's sitting there. It's looking
It's
pretty.
sitting there, yeah.
It is a trophy card. Like, that's what people on Aether Drift are fighting for.
Yeah,
they want to get the Aether Spark and travel planes. So currently we have a planeswalking clown, effectively.
Yeah.
Which can be, you know, half the planeswalkers that exist.
It's very flavorful. Look, you'd think that something like that would be from Universes Beyond, but no, that is actually in the Magic lore.
Yeah, the Infinity set really interesting in terms of making some cards legal in the format. We did have the Menace that was stickers for a little while.
Yes.
And we
Do
got to see
remember that
some.
time.
I remember seeing a turn 1 kill with Sticker Goblin.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was a turn 1 Sticker Goblin into Kiki Jiki.
Yes.
Into Copy the Sticker Goblin, into Conspicuous Snoop, and
Tremendous fun for one person. The other person probably got their head in their hands.
yeah. Well, they put their hand in their hand, like they didn't play anything.
Yeah,
so.
true.
All right, so Tom choosing to cash this in, drawing an Urza's Power Plant and a Shadow Spear.
Yeah, not too much action still for Tom.
No, the Shadow Spear is powerful. It's a bit awkward on this board how it's lining up into Yang's hand with both Galvanic Discharge and Lightning Bolt, and then the next turn the Flame of Anor. So we are crewing the Clown Car and attacking with the Clown and the Clown Car.
A lot of clowns and snakes on the board.
Yeah, so Bot as well choosing not to play the Ancient Tomb pre-combat, which would have given the ability to cast Eldrazi Confluence if he needed to.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to preserve the information instead, because you don't really need to do a lot with the Eldrazi Confluence this turn. Your opponent's doing something reactive, and this is a bit more of a proactive card sometimes. There's nothing really on the board for him to target with it, because he's going to be killing any creature he targets, including his own. Making the Scions is not what you want to be doing main phase. And then there's nothing we want to flicker.
Yeah, the Scions though here, importantly, they are 1/1s. Like we often see the 0/1s coming out from the shop style decks, but that 1/1, 1 power is pretty huge on this board. With Yang already at 9, Tom could easily present almost a 2-turn clock. But yeah, I think Tom definitely in the driver's seat. He's trying to race and end this game as quickly as possible before Yang is able to establish some board presence and deal with this Aether Spark.
Tom sacking the Expedition map, which is why he didn't play the Ancient Tomb as well. He wanted to give that option open to him. And Tom has a wide variety of lands he can choose from.
Yeah, I think we're going to see an Urza's Saga.
Yep, that makes sense. It's a good grindy card.
Very grindy card. It's going to enable Tom to have that other angle of attack, start making constructs, continue to put pressure and power on the board. Yep.
Yeah, so I think Tom might be thinking right now about what happens if I get Blood Moon next turn, or Back to Basics, all those kinds of things, and just trying to insulate himself against those effects. So, Scalding Tarn, the draw for Yang. Or Prismatic Vista? Prismatic Vista. So, Unholy Heat deals with the Aether Spark, Delirium not needed.
Still importantly, another additional red land for Yang.
Yep. So, Yang also has the Think into Stupor in his hand, another Island, Lightning Bolt, Flame of Anor. So, this Prismatic Vista might actually be getting a mountain here.
Yeah.
Which is rare for the deck, because the deck usually only plays two
and it
mountains.
can be a little bit awkward,
Yeah, Yang's only got 2 mountains in his deck, so... but he does have another island in his hand, plus the Sink into Stupor, so he's not actually in requirement of, blue sources.
Yep.
He's got them.
Yeah, Yang's hand is extremely fair, whilst Tom's board, quite unfair.
Yeah. Goes for the Stonecoil Serpent main phase. This does a few things. One, it cuts it off the Gaia's Cradle mana. Now we have nothing to animate the Clown Car. Well, we can make a Saga token. We can Cradle for 0. We can Workshop for 0. And we can Mopal for 1. So we would need an additional land. Beseiju the pickup for Tom.
Yeah, not the best draw from Tom here.
What
starting to fall a bit, or not fall behind at all, but he really needs maybe one more piece of juice.
Yeah, so Tom here could play the Ancient Tomb, use it to animate the Saga, and this would give him the ability to tap the Gaia's Cradle for mana, and leave open the Mox Opal in case he wanted to Beseiju a Blood Moon or Back to Basics that might come down next turn. Also means he gets to leave open the Eldrazi Confluence, but it's really going to depend if he wants to get aggressive here by attacking with the Clown Car or not.
Yeah, the 2 damage here does seem to be pretty strong, because this construct next turn, without playing any more artifacts, will be a 5/5 if he makes another construct on the following turn. So getting Yang down to 6 and equipping the Shadow Spear to a construct is 6 damage next turn.
Yep.
So this 2 damage here could be really, really crucial.
Not to mention he's going to get the ability to make another construct next turn and search his deck for a 1-drop.
Yep.
this is going to be very, very tight for Yang, because even if he did have something like a Blood Moon here, now this Saga's really scary, because it's just going to be making 2/2s for the rest of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the Saga's already made one construct, so a Moon effect is pretty negligible.
Yep, so Shadow Spear getting on the Clown Car.
Yep.
Coming in for 3. Gaining back all the life Thomas Bot lost off the Ancient Tomb, but he's not too worried about his life total right now.
Not at all.
Usually not against control decks. So passing the turn with no interaction. And let's see what Yang has. He's drawn Back to Basics. Pretty good card. Maybe,
Very good card, but
maybe not onto this board though.
yeah, there's a little too much creatures in the red zone
Yeah.
for the back to basics.
So we have the Flame of Anor, which is going to let us kill something. But we're going to go with the Back to Basics here. So this is going to cut Thomas Bot off a fair bit. He's not going to be able to get the second token out of that Saga, but he will still get to search his deck for 1 or 0 cost creature. Artifact, sorry.
Yep.
And goes for the Candelabra by the looks of it. He's putting that to the top. That's kind of a cool way to get around Back to Basics.
That's exactly how you get around back to basics.
And there's the Candelabra. Yang thinking to himself, I just won one of those the other week.
exactly.
Like maybe I should be playing this.
Yeah.
But Yang has instead opted to play 8 points, which is reasonable, especially because of Lutri.
Yeah, and I think Yang is now in a clear favourite spot to the highest placing 8-point deck. But yeah, as we see, very quickly that construct getting in, being able to attack Yang with damage and just a consistent 4 or 5 damage over those 4 or 5 turns ends the game quite quickly.
Yeah, he had lethal on board because the Construct, the Clown Card, the Mox Opal, and the Shadow Spear make the Construct a 4/4. So could have then just equipped the Shadow Spear and then gets the Candelabra gravy. It's, yeah. Yang didn't really have many options there towards the end of that. Bot came out of the gates really quickly. And let's go to sideboarding. What are you sideboarding out of Blue Moon?
Sideboarding out, so I think firstly we're sideboarding in definitely something like Consign. We got the Meltdown, which is going to be excellent. You've got Brotherhood's End as well. So I think you've got at least those 3 cards coming in. What we don't really want to see, I think, is maybe the big clunky sort of spell. So like a Jace the Mind Sculptor might be a bit too slow. But it could be a way for Yang to turn the corner once he starts to control the board a bit better.
Yeah, Yang's game plan is going to be along the lines of cheap interaction to not get overwhelmed, and if he does, he's hoping to have one of those backup like Meltdown or Brotherhood's End parts to get him out of it. So Yang is just going to be trying to not lose the game effectively for the first couple of turns, and then try and take it over, hopefully by locking Tom out with Harbinger of the Tides, Blood Moon, Back to Basics, all those good ones.
Yep. Yeah, getting those back to basics, Blood Moon effects down before turn 4 or 5 is, as you said, crucial. Like, if Tom's able to have an Urza Saga on 2, all of a sudden your Moon effects, they're quite awful with that recent rule change.
Yeah, and how do you think Tom is siding in the Shops matchup? Because Shops is a weird deck when it comes to sideboarding, I found. It's got a lot of really obscure cards that are so niche. Like, they have very specific roles trying to do very specific things, because you don't have a lot of deck manipulation in this deck.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, obviously, you've got things like Haywire Might to blow up those enchantments that are going to be dealing with your non-basic lands.
Yeah, Waterscape Battle Mage as well as another one.
Yep. Trinisphere also really, really good because, as you said, Yang wants to be quite efficient with his spells to control the board. So making him spend more mana on his spells is going to slow him down quite a lot.
Yeah, I think maybe I bought in Trinisphere on the play, maybe not the draw. But
Yep.
Tom knows this matchup better than I do. Like, if Yang's trying to be as mana efficient as possible and he's being restricted to 1 spell a turn, Shops tends to play a better spell every turn.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the raw power level of Shops cards obviously outlast the Blue Moon deck, but at the same time, the efficiency is on the Blue Moon side.
Yeah. A lot of cards we can take out of here. What are we not interested in?
There's a lot of cards. I think one that sticks out to me is possibly the Sundering Titan. Obviously, Yang just has the 2 basic types, but if you're able to turbo out a Sundering Titan, it can be quite devastating.
I think I'm taking out the Thundering Titan.
Yep.
I don't want to be as clunky as possible, and I think it's for different matchups, things like Grixis, John,
Yeah,
like any of the
absolutely.
mid-range decks that sometimes you just want a haymaker.
Non-moon decks.
Yeah. And it can be really funny against Storm as well. You just drop it and strip mine them 3 times, and they go, well, I guess
Yes.
I guess I lose.
Especially post-board, you're trying to board into a mid-range plan. Well, guess what? My my big dumb artifact is going to blow up all your lands and stop you from casting your mid-range spells.
Yeah, you can even like Eldrazi Confluence, flicker it, and just get a Sundering Titan trigger on the way out and back in. So really blow up all your opponent's lands. Like other haymakers like Ugin or Cityscape Leveler, they might be a bit clunky in terms of being able to cast them. Like you never want to have your Ugin like lose focused or something.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
going to be just so devastating.
Yeah, and whilst Ugin does have that cast trigger to destroy a potential moon effect, if the moon effect's on the table, it's probably difficult for you to even have up to 7 mana.
Yeah.
So can definitely see that one coming out.
So other things Tom is going to be considering is the cards that are weak to effects like Bolt, Galvanic Discharge. You want to get on board early, but you don't want things that are going to make Yang's cards good.
Yeah.
Because we're so powerful as a deck in terms of fast mana, we're trying to really play an unfair game, which means that we need our cards to be better a lot of the time. So trading 1-for-1 is not where we want to be, especially because so many of our cards are being used to facilitate other cards like Mana Rocks and such.
The card for me that sticks out with that, with what you just said, is the Scrolling Trawler, I believe is the name.
Scrolling Crawler, yeah.
Scrolling Crawler. It look, dies the Bolt, draws Yang cards. Yang is not necessarily drawing a lot of cards in his deck to the point where it's going to kill him with those deal 1 damage triggers. So, yeah, as you mentioned, I think anything that's boltable or can be hit by a burn spell is something you want to be pushing out immediately.
Yeah. I do like this card, though.
It's a very good card.
Cool card.
It's awesome. I played a little bit of Vintage lately, and it is extremely powerful on turn 1, with Paradoxical Outcome being a big player in Vintage. Being able to slam this on turn 1 off a shop just feels a bit dirty sometimes.
Yeah, shop. There's always like the 3 mana artifacts that can be cast off shop, and there's always new ones coming out. It's just like, what flavor is Workshop playing in Vintage these days? And one of the cool things about Highlander is, because it's a singleton format, you kind of get to play them all.
Yeah, exactly right.
Or at least the good ones.
Yeah. Yeah, nowadays, look, there's so many cards that turns out you got to make some decisions. You got to make some cuts. You know, we can't play every card nowadays.
Yeah, no one's playing Clown Car in Vintage, unfortunately.
No, yeah, you don't get to clown people, but at the same time, maybe one day. Look, if the meta evolves where you need some 1/1s, you need some wide board. Look, nothing's off the table.
So Clown being a creature type is really funny. I've seen someone Emrakul the Promise End their opponent, then played their Cavern of Souls and named Clown. Like
very good, very good.
Just have a bit of a laugh with some of the things you can do in this. So Yang taking a Malta 6. Didn't like his hand. It was a bit slow. Some lands, Pyrogoyf, Memory Lapse. This one's looking a little more lean, with Thundering Falls looking to be the card going to the bottom. So Preordain in hand. Basic Mountain.
The Sink as well. Oh, it's a Scalding Tarn. Perfect. Oh, Steam Vents, rather.
Taking 2 and playing the Preordain.
Yep.
So Yang, stock up and Harbinger.
Yeah, Harbinger, obviously sticking out to us. That's a tremendous one to have, especially on the play.
Yep. I'm liking the Harbinger here, and looks like Yang is as well.
Bottoms to stock up could be a bit too slow. I mean, especially on turn 3, you do want to be slamming that moon effect, as we've been saying.
Yeah, so he has a Ponder in hand as well, Basic Mountain, Sink into Stupor, and Dig Through Time. So next turn is maybe digging for a land, but we might just play the Sink into Stupor and pass. Depends what we draw, what interaction we might have or want to leave up, because the next card is an unknown.
Yep.
So Tom here with a shop again. A Chalice, a Tezzeret, an Ancient Tomb, Urza's Tower. Oh.
So yeah, it's a very powerful hand from Tom. You don't get to 8-0-1 without drawing a shop on turn 1.
Well, sometimes. But we're going for turn 1 Chalice here.
Yeah, I really like this.
Yeah, this is going to be really painful for any game plan Yang is trying to do in terms of interact. So this is going to insulate Tom from a fair bit, but Yang is on plan Harbinger.
Yeah, and this really does make things awkward. Obviously, in the later turns, Yang could potentially sink the Chalice in order to have access to those 1-mana spells. But he is priced into kind of playing this as his 3rd land to make sure he can slam the Harbinger.
Tom's got a Dismember in hand.
Tom has a Dismember, okay.
It's a really good answer to Harbinger there.
Yeah, that's pretty much... Is it the only answer he has?
He probably has more answers, but
it's
that's the best one, right?
Yeah. The cleanest.
Yeah, I mean, Eldrazi Confluence is technically an answer, but it's hard to get colorless mana through a Harbinger. But, you know, Tezzeret's also a great thing to get onto the board here right now, because he has the ability to answer the Harbinger with everything. But Yang's drawn a Force of Will and pitches the Ponder.
Very good draw from Yang.
Yep. Obviously doesn't need the Ponder. There's a Chalice in play.
Yep, that's lined up really well for him there.
And Thomas Bott's also got a Thought-Knot Seer, which means that even if this Harbinger comes down, or as it comes down,
and here we go, yep.
If he doesn't want to dismember it, it doesn't necessarily have to. You can just...
Yep, straight away. Not a lot of thought on that one.
Thought-Knot Seer does require Colorless Mana, I've now remembered, so he does need to kill it, but yeah, that just has to go away. Planar Nexus, the draw. Ooh.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, that's sick combo.
Pretty much the perfect follow-up.
Could have played the Workshop into the Lodestone, but I like this Thought-Knot Seer more.
I like the Thought-Knot Seer absolutely too, yeah. I mean, you really just want to tighten up this game, get rid of the best card in Yang's hand, which is still likely going to be the dig through time.
So Yang looking here like he's trying to check Planar Nexus and how it works with Urza's Tower. This is a silly interaction which has made some interesting things happen in Legacy.
Yeah.
With people playing only Urza's Tower and none of the either two Urza lands. So Chain Lightning, the last card in Yang's hand, which is doesn't look very good into a Chalice of the Void or Thought-Knot Seer.
Yeah.
So Tom Bott beating down with the Thought-Knot Seer. I imagine we're going to see a Lodestone Golem to turn this into a 2-turn clock, or two more turns after this one, I guess.
Yeah, Tom really hitting those sort of threats that have 4+ power and just race Yang tremendously well when he doesn't have the interaction line up.
So Yang chose not to put Lutri in his hand last turn, which means he's maybe trying to represent something, or maybe has something. And
yeah, it's quite interesting. It's one of those, or there is that slither of a chance that he's potentially forgotten about it.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
It does happen, especially when the game is folded out like this.
Well, you don't always know where your pet is, right? Especially if you got a cat. And I imagine an otter's even harder to find. Is it in the water? You try finding something in the water?
It's slippery.
Slippery, yeah.
Hard to catch.
But Yang did have interaction. His memory lapse. Puts the Lodestone back on top, buying himself a turn, basically. So the Thought-Knot Seer next turn is going to hit him down to 9, and then the Lodestone Golem next turn is going to put an additional 5 power to make it 9 power total. And Tom here looking like Stonecoil Serpents to play. Choosing not to tap the Ancient Tomb to take that 2 damage, because there is one card that he could lose to right now.
One of my favorites. One of my absolute favorites. Price of Progress.
Price of Progress, which actually isn't in this deck.
Wow, okay. That's a really interesting decision. I mean, we've seen Price of Progress make its way into some of the Grixis lists.
Yeah, I think Price of Progress is more for a bit more aggressive decks.
Yeah.
Yang is playing a much harder version of a control deck.
Yeah.
So Thomas Bott deploys the Lodestone Golem, puts Yang to 6, has it all.
Has it all, Yang just says, well, yep, you had it, you played well.
Yeah.
I could have done too much more.
That is the nature of bots sometimes. Sometimes they have really good draws. And that is why the deck is powerful. I think it's also a reason it's favored by a lot of really good players.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the players who are playing it, phenomenal.
Very high caliber. I mean, there's again, regional champion. You got Volty, obviously, Trent Clark, multiple Pro Tour competitor. The great players are choosing to play great decks, and I think Bots is also one of those decks that's kind of hard to play into. Oftentimes, players don't have too much familiarity with the artifacts and such. It's not Grixis. You're not seeing the same cards over and over again.
Yeah, because of shops being able to present so many different threats from so many different angles, it's really hard to line up your cards correctly, especially in a singleton format.
Yeah.
So shops being the deck that is asking the questions instead of providing the answers makes it really hard to provide answers a lot of the time for it, and the deck can just run you over.
Yeah, especially now, I mean, in that game or two, we saw Tom's best threat being the Thought-Knot Seer. It's not an artifact.
No.
So traditionally, you want to be, you're trying to board in those shatters, you want to destroy the artifacts, but sometimes they just stick a big 4/4 to play that you can't actually destroy.
Yeah, sometimes you stick a Null Rod onto turn 2, and your opponent plays a Planar Nexus, taps their Urza's Tower, and then there's a Thought-Knot Seer.
Yeah,
well, this Null Rod looks a bit silly.
Tom has done to me many a times. There was a funny match a few years ago on camera where I play a turn 2 Null Rod, and I think I'm in a good spot, and he just goes, okay, Workshop, Academy, and Wormcoil Engine. I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, you've tapped no artifacts, and I can't deal with a 6/6 lifelink.
Wormcoil Engine, very effective at this format. The only good removal for it is white, so you got Swords, Leyline, Binding, Path, but lines up well into Dismember. It's pretty good into Unholy Heat, and the problem is it is a giant 6-drop.
The problem is, yeah, giant 6 drop. It's it's going to make the race for bots super favorable.
Yeah. Very hard to answer that card, and it runs away with a lot of games. I remember playing the card back in Standard. Oh, that thing was a house.
Yeah. Pre-release foil, very iconic card, but it's starting to make its way out. It feels like in a lot of different formats. I'm not seeing it as much.
I've got my set, and they're all signed by my Swanland himself. I don't know if you've seen Swanland's signature, but it's fantastic.
A tremendous signature. Yeah.
Swanland loves anything spiky, and he just like has spikes on everything.
Yeah.
I think he would be good at Magic.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does he play Magic?
I don't know. It's always a 50-50 whether the artists play Magic.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are a Magic player, and then they get the gigs with Wizards and they get contracts to make the art. And then other times, I've seen some artists start to play Magic because they've gotten the job or gotten a contract to make some art, and all of a sudden they go, "What's this all about? I should get into this."
One of my favorite artists is Johannes Voss. I saw him at Barcelona in 2023. He's just playing games of Commander with like fans while signing cards. Like, just when it's not his turn, he's just signing cards, goes back, plays turn, and he's like really nice guy and fun to interact with. He just loves Magic.
Yeah, it's really good. Working hard, playing hard.
Yeah, and then we've even got artists like relatively new on the block, like Kellogg Slops.
Yeah.
Who's in Australia, I believe in Melbourne. And I was talking to him when he got his secret lair, or about the secret lair he got. And he didn't know what Magic was. And he told some of his friends, and his friends got super excited because they're like, "Oh, you got a contract with Magic, that's so cool." And he just had no idea about it all. Came to the RC, saw everything going on, and he thought it was incredible.
Yeah, I remember speaking to him very briefly, and all he was saying was just, "This is crazy."
Yeah.
There's 300 people in the room playing a game that's not chess or poker, and it's like, this is just wonderful to see, and awesome to see him wanting to continue being involved, and continue to show up to events, supporting players, signing cards, signing playmats.
We've even brought an artist out for this event. We've got April Prime here today.
Yeah.
She's been here over the weekend. I need to go see her and talk to her at some point.
Yeah, grab an artist proof or something.
Yeah, grab playmat or something cool. Like, I really like these unique sort of things.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of artist proofs. I think they're tremendous. They're like almost the serialized cards before serialized cards.
Yeah,
thing.
I like unique things, rarities, oddities as well. So I think I might ask her if she plays Magic as well, or
true.
how much Magic she's played.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think yes or no? Do they play Magic?
I'm gonna hope yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because like
hope yes, but leaning towards no.
Yeah. It's always more fun when the artists play Magic because you can talk to them a bit more about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm sure the ones that don't are kind of sick of hearing about Magic sometimes.
Yeah, they want to hear, "Oh, your card beats me all the time. This is ridiculous. Why did you make this?" And unfortunately, the artists they're not in charge of making the actual card, so never blame the artist, folks.
No. I remember talking to Sarah Finnegan, asking what her favorite art piece she's done is. I love to ask artists what their favorite piece is. And she said Thrawn Portal, and I hate that card. It's a wonderful art, but every time you read that card, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Like, this is one of the worst cards I've ever registered in a deck. I just really hate that card. But the artwork is phenomenal.
Yep.
And Sarah is lovely. All right. We have a metagame breakdown and analysis being hosted by Ian and Sam. So we'll cut to that, and we'll see you next for the next round.
Thanks so much, guys. That was a great match. I am once again here with Ian Cormick, and we're here to do you guys a metagame breakdown. So, Ian, how's your day been so far? Let's start with that.
It's been really good. Last night was especially exciting going through all of the deck lists and having a look to see what converted, what didn't, that kind of thing. See what we've got here today.
Fantastic. Yeah, so we went from, I think it was 312 players down to around 90, day one to day two. So, we're losing most of the field, let's say. A little, we keep a little under a third. So with that, there is a bunch of cards that are going to retain their value and a bunch of archetypes that are going to retain their value, and there's going to be some losers as well. So, Ian, what are you seeing?
We're seeing a lot of what we would expect. So Grix is still the most played deck, slightly below average conversion rate, actually. So has suffered a little bit, but obviously, we saw JLS earlier today. The best pilots are still up there. They're playing the deck really well. Below that, a lot of the mid-range decks we'd expect. Jund still pretty well represented. Mardu, Blue Moon as well. We saw on camera just then. Didn't go so well in this round, but it is still putting up results. Storm's another one. 6 of the 7 Storm pilots made day 2, which is a pretty great conversion rate. But the lands as well, surprisingly. A few lands decks and a few different versions of Breach decks, which is exciting.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That the Black Lotus sort of quotient there of including in your deck, I am assuming remains quite strong.
Yes, so we had 5 of the 6 Lotus Storm players make it through, 1 of the 2 Bomberman pilots, and unfortunately our Orzhov Lotus player did not make day 2, but still a very strong conversion rate for Black Lotuses in the field.
You heard it here first. Buy a Black Lotus, they're quite good. So when we're talking about these metagame breakdowns, we like to have a look at what pointed cards are in the meta, how well they do, and sort of what is the value of playing these pointed cards. So you've done some math for us, Ian. Thank you very much for that. I don't like doing math. And what cards have sort of been the best includes and the best sort of ways to spend your points in the format for this event?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I've done is I've taken all the pointed cards. We looked at what percentage of the decks were they in on day 1, what percentage of the decks are they in day 2. So we can get a rough conversion rate for those pointed cards, see which cards perform best and which don't perform so well. Now there's one deck I left off that meta because it's the standout deck from the tournament by far, and that is Shops. Bots, Shops, these artifact-based decks. Because if we look at the top cards of the pointed cards and how they're performing, let me give you the top 6 cards. We've got the One Ring, Mana Vault, Talarian Academy, Urza's Saga, Mishra's Workshop, Plane and Nexus. Those are the top 6 pointed cards here this weekend.
And they're all in the same deck. Yeah. I mean, one of the things about Shops as well is that I think it really encourages archetype specialists. People who love casting big, expensive artifacts have no other mode sometimes. And I've seen a lot of the people here today at the top tables, at every top table, at any Highlander event I've ever attended. Have you had the same experience with these people out here sort of ruining our days with Trinispheres?
Oh, absolutely. We just had Tom Bott on coverage. The man he's got the archetype practically named after him. Trent Clark's been around as well. He's a well-known bots player. So there's a few of them that love their transfers, love their workshops, and they're out in force today.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, with all those good stats, let's say all those colorless cards are really converting quite well, quite strongly, there is the other side of it as well. So do you have some cards for us that, people are including in their decks and then not making day 2?
Absolutely, we do. Unfortunately for all the Grixis gamers, the worst performing pointed cards, we got Strip Mine. Excuse me there. Strip Mine, but followed by that, Force of Will was our most played pointed card on day 1. That's the second worst performing pointed card. And then the third worst spot is Psychic Frog, another really highly played pointed card that drives a lot of these blue-black mid-range decks, not performing so well.
That's interesting as well, because that is a 2-point card, and we did point that out yesterday when we did the meta breakdown, that the amount of points you're spending on Psychic Frog in those blue-black X decks is actually a larger proportion of the total amounts of points at the tournament than the representation in hard numbers. Of course, Force of Will, 1 point, not converting, unusual, to be honest. It's normally one of the more effective cards. I don't know if you've played with Force of Will. I've played with Force of Will, and it was really fun. So with that in mind, have we had any other cards, let's say non-pointed cards, that have come to the fore this weekend?
Absolutely. I have to shout out, it's a fringe one, but of the unpointed cards, it is Plague On, Master of the Beach, Lord of the Beach. This is a really interesting jumpstart card that just got recently printed. It's picking up steam in walks. Only 7 players registered it in day 1, but 5 of them are here again on day 2. So shout out to that card.
Yeah, big shout outs to Plague On, Lord of the Beach or something.